The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. For decades, African politics has been trapped in a loop of empty talk. Every time you turn on the news, the old regional blocs are making big announcements. They hold fancy summits. They sign expensive treaties. But if you look closely at organizations like the African Union, you see a major problem. Their policies are always set for the distant future. They talk constantly about Agenda 2063. That is a developmental plan for the year 2063. Think about that. The politicians talking about Agenda 2063 will not even be alive to see it. It is an easy way to avoid fixing the problems that Africans face today. While the old blocs are busy making plans for 40 years from now, a massive shift has just happened in the Sahel region. 3 nations decided they were done waiting. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, the countries that form the Alliance of the Sahel States, AES, just did something concrete. They did not launch a 40-year plan. They did not form a slow committee. Instead, they went straight to work and officially launched a unified regional parliament. The parliamentary speakers from all 3 nations met face to face with Captain Ibrahim Traore in Ouagadougou. They got the official green light, and they are naming the new lawmakers immediately. This move is a direct challenge to the entire African political system. It exposes how the old regional blocs have completely failed to deliver real results. To understand why the AES Parliament is such a massive deal, we have to look at the track record of the organizations they left behind. Let us be completely honest. ECOWAS has failed, and the African Union has failed big time. ECOWAS had its own regional parliament sitting in Abuja, Nigeria, since the year 2000. The African Union has had the Pan-African Parliament in South Africa since 2004. These groups have existed more than 20 years, but what have they actually done for the regular citizens of West Africa? The answer is next to nothing. The members of the ECOWAS Parliament have never been directly elected by the people. More importantly, that parliament has zero real authority. It is just an advisory body. They meet, they talk, they argue, and they make suggestions. But they cannot pass a single law that binds any government. They have no teeth. When the Sahel region faced a massive crisis with TT activities and insecurity, ECOWAS did nothing. They did not send real help. Instead, they threatened military intervention against Niger and slapped heavy economic sanctions on regular people. The African Union has followed the exact same path. It has become a giant bureaucracy that relies heavily on foreign funding. Because they depend on external money, they often echo Western interests instead of standing up for African sovereignty. Look at the speed of the AES since they walk out of ECOWAS. They are putting the old system to shame by showing what real political will looks like. While the AU writes long reports about integration, the AES already delivered real pieces of the unified state. Shared identity. They have a single regional flag and a new anthem. Real mobility. They roll out an active biometric AES passport for their citizens. Economic control. They set up a shared custom levy to manage trade across their internal borders. They also have the unified defense. They built a joint military force under a single commander that actually fights terrorism on the ground. And look at the money. In December 2025, they activated their own developmental bank in Bamako with an initial capital of 500 billion CFA francs. That is worth nearly 900 million US dollars. They did not wait for the World Bank. They did not wait or beg the IMF. The three countries fund themselves by putting 5% of their local tax revenues directly into the bank. Now, they are adding a unified parliament to this list. This is not just a loose agreement anymore. When three countries share a flag, an army, a bank, a passport, and a legislative chamber, they are building a real superstate in front of our eyes. This new parliament also changes how Africa deals with the rest of the world. It completely alters the balance of power. Just recently, the European Parliament in Brussels passed a tough resolution criticizing Burkina Faso. For decades, this is exactly how the system worked. Europe will pass a rule. The AU or ECOWAS will comply. And Africa will do nothing. But the Sahel broke that loop. The foreign minister of Burkina Faso summoned the EU ambassador and told him directly that his government felt total disgust at the interference. Then, the Speaker of the AES Parliament passed their own motion to reject Europe's stand completely. This is a complete shift. A parliament in Europe attacks the Sahel, and a unified parliament in the Sahel answers right back. Institution to institution. Legally, the AES is still a confederation. The three nations keep their individual constitutions and governments. But history shows that a confederation is just a stepping stone. Every single institutional block they stack brings them closer to a full, powerful federation. Even with all this rapid progress, the AES still faces one massive hurdle that could hold them back. True independence cannot just live in a parliament building. It has to reach the cash in the people's pockets. Right now, the joint AES army is still paid in CFA francs. The new parliament bank keeps its accounts in CFA francs. This means all three nations are still using a currency that is pegged to the euro and guaranteed by French treasury. You cannot claim total victory over colonial influence if your financial system is still tied to your former colonial master. The leaders of the Sahel know this. General Chiani and all in all of Niger has been pushing hard for a new regional currency. But building a currency from scratch is a massive technical challenge. You have to secure foreign reserves and build a new central bank system. The clock is ticking very fast. ECOWAS has set a new deadline of July 2027 to launch its own currency called the ECO. Nigeria has already hinted that the English-speaking countries might launch the ECO alone, leaving the French-speaking zone behind. If the AES does not fast-track its own currency roadmap, the risk being left holding the very last colonial currency in West Africa. To complete their sovereignty, the CFA franc must be retired for good. This new parliament also set up a concrete way for the alliance to grow. The AES was never meant to be a closed group. Neighbors like Togo have already expressed open interest in the project. Before this week, joining the AES meant signing a complex defense treaty. Now, it means sending your own lawmakers to sit in a physical chamber. That makes integration real, not abstract. As this new parliament begins to sit, we will be watching 5 critical points. How many seats will each nation get in the chamber? Will the decisions of this parliament be binding laws or just weak advice like ECOWAS? Which city will be chosen as the parliament capital for the lawmakers? Will the inauguration officially begin? Will the system gradually transition to direct voting by regular citizens? The answers to these questions will tell us if this is the birth of a true superpower or just a symbolic move. This is a historic moment for West Africa, and it exposes the deep divide between political talk and real action. I want to hear your honest take in the comment section below. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso.